What's going on? What's going on? What is up? It is Sunday, June 18, Father's Day up in this joint. And I see we got a bunch of people on the live today. Yo, I'm looking at these numbers like, holy crap, what is going on? I am one half of the blah, 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 WTF Nation Radio, the Sports Bar King. And over here to this side is my main man, Coach. Coach, what do you say to the people?
What do you hear? What do you say? Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Let's crack open another tall boy for every father that's out there today. Happy Father's Day, you motherfuckers.
I like it. Coach cracked him up a cold one. You know what? I didn't properly prepare myself to crack open a cold one for the live stream today. But you know what? I'm going to have my agua right here, my water, and I'm going to raise up one to all of the fathers out there on this Father's Day in 2023. So I give y'all a raised glass and a salute as well. Coach, do you see these numbers? We got
Yeah,
a
I'm looking
bunch
at
of
him, man.
people popping up in
Outstanding.
here today.
Hey, I'm
Yo,
happy. That makes me absolutely happy. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, get into the comments. Check us out. Let's talk sports. Let's get this ball going on this great Sunday. We're going to have a great time tonight, my man.
we are going to have a great time. Absolutely. Yo, we've got several stories that we're going to talk about today. This is going to be kind of a Father's Day themed sports bar. We are one of the many shows here at WTF Nation Radio / US Army WTF Moments. Here at the sports bar, we don't just talk sports because you don't just talk sports in a regular sports bar. You also talk about real life as well. So that's what we do over here. That is our show moniker. But before we get into our show, we have to do some marketing. All right. We got to get the boring stuff out of the way. So to the people watching, don't leave. But we do want to give a shout out to all of the other shows that we have almost every day of the week here at WTF Nation Radio. And my main man, Coach, is going to go through these shows. Coach, let him know what all we have here at WTF Nation Radio.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as King has mentioned, we come to you live 6 nights a week across Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and we're about to begin on a new platform called Kick. So once we get that up and rolling, definitely come over there to Kick. Check us out on there, like and subscribe our channel. But every 6 days a week, starting on Sundays with the Sports Bar, and then moving into Mondays where we have the Monday edition with Ice and Shipwreck, talking about what's going on in the world and how it affects us in the military, usually dealing with the politics of the day and how all of this is affecting us down there on the street, right there at the Joe level. Tuesdays with Pop Culture Warrior Mike Carrasquillo, my friend, best known as CQ, bringing you hot and heavy with the latest that's happening within the world of pop culture, bringing you some great celebrity interviews. Hope you all checked out the channel on Friday because the one, the only Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk, was interviewed by CQ. If you have not had a chance to check that out, you might want to check that out. Phenomenal show that happens every Tuesday on WTF Nation Radio at 8 o'clock. And speaking of that, on Wednesdays, this Smoke Pit with Radar and TZ is beaming to you live all across WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. I cannot be any more proud than Radar and TZ because they have done a phenomenal job getting that show off the ground and having some real engaging topics. And all we're talking about is bullshit, bullshit, and bullshit. Everything that you want to talk about, that's what's up on the line for the day. Moving into our mainstay, which is Sergeant's Time on Thursdays, where ICE brings it to you hot and heavy of the news affecting the military and the veteran communities. I'm hoping Spanky's coming back up here because, you know, I'm hearing a little bit of rumors that Spanky will come back as co-hosting on Thursdays. That'll be awesome if that'll actually happen. And speaking of co-hosting, we actually do have a little bit of an update because I take that back. Ship is not going to be there. No, I know. I take that back. Ship is going to be there on Monday. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting to this week, which is now coming back took a vacation every other 2 weeks. Friday Night Freedom will be coming to you live at 8 o'clock. And this week, Kaz is going to have a special guest host with him. Pookie's taking a little bit of vacation for him this weekend. Awesome. Cannot complain about that whatsoever. And we are going to have, I got to take a look at the daggone. Of course, the ops page doesn't have it on there, and I'm not in the ops chat. King doesn't know which chat we were actually going into. That's a whole different story. But we got Mike Massey that's going to be coming in over here. Massey will be coming in on Friday as well, and he will be co-hosting with Kaz on Friday Night Freedom. Remember, 8 o'clock every night, every 6 nights a week, minus Saturday, on WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and soon to be Kick.
Hey,
back
brother,
to the show.
Hey, that was awesome. I got one correction. We're not streaming on Twitch today. When I went to go log in,
We're done.
The Twitch channel was gone. I think starting next week, we're going to be over on Kick as well.
Well, right.
So
good. We're off of Twitch. All right. Good for them. That's a bunch of nerd gamers anyway. So it's all right.
All right. Hey, let's acknowledge the earlier commenters before we go into sports trivia. I see my man Charles Rosignoli in the building said, "Good evening, guys. Good evening to you." Michelle Early said, "Good evening. Hey, boo." Did she follow that up with Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers? Special wishes to both King and Coach. Hey, I'm going to start this because I'm going to come back to this because Coach told me what he got for Father's Day, and it made me crack up laughing, but we're going to come back to that. John Parker Zenoff said, "Good evening." Hey, John Parker, good evening to you. And he said, "What up, Coach?" David Cunningham is in the building, said, "Happy Father's Day." Hey, David, I don't know if you're a father. John, I don't know if you're a father as well, but happy Father's Day to you as well. Joshua Brogan said, "What did Conor McGregor do?" Stick around. That is the main story that we're going to get into later on in the show. Brit, I like that it's Brit, like boom, boom. Says, "Happy Father's Day to all of the dads out there." Thank you, Brit. I appreciate you. Let's see. Charles said, "Great interview with CQ and the OG Hope." Yeah, Lou Ferrigno, OG Hope. Yo, it was a fantastic interview. If you haven't seen that interview, it's up on the main page as well. But if you want to see all of just the interview stuff that we do with the Pop Culture Warrior show here at WTF Nation Radio, you can go over to Pop Culture Warriors YouTube or Facebook page where he posts just the clips and stuff of the interviews that he did. That was a fantastic interview. I actually called him afterwards and said, "Yo, man, one of these days when you become famous, don't forget about me. Don't forget about the little people over here." Let's see. We got Ella Monday said, "Happy Father's Day" as well. Thanks, Ella. And Tiffany Henry said, "Happy Father's Day. Baby Gronk's dad is doing way too much." Hey, I'm going to talk about that story early. So stick around for that. I'm just hearing about this kid, Baby Gronk. I did a little bit of coverage on him earlier at the beginning of the week, but this dude's going viral, and a lot of the parents, moms and dads out there are saying that this dude's doing way too much. I kind of have a differing opinion on what's going on. Coach, have you heard of Baby Gronk?
I've heard. I haven't delved completely into it, but I have heard a little bit about it.
Okay, yeah. It's this kid and his father, whose name is Jake San Miguel. The kid's name is Madden, literally named after John Madden. But we'll talk about that later on. I'm glad that Tiffany had brought that up early. We're definitely going to get into Baby Gronk here on the show. And let's see, I got one more comment here, and then I'm going to go back to the Father's Day gifts that we received. Jeremy Hennon, what up? Said, "Happy Father's Day to all of the Jodies in the military." Hey,
those
like
the real
comment.
Motherfuckers. Those the real motherfuckers. Those Jodies.
Yep. Jody got your girl and your baby mama pregnant. Tiffany said he's like a fourth grader. Ain't nobody looking at him. Hey, Tiffany, stick around. I have some opinions that are different from what kind of the mainstream folks are saying. And I'm going to give his dad Father of the Year. So stick around and find out why I say that. All right. Michelle said Jody needs love too. Absolutely. Jody's need love too. And if you don't be careful, Jody gonna get your girl. So let's go back to this one right here. Happy Father's Day. Special wishes to both King and Coach. Michelle Early got me an AirTag for my wallet for Father's Day, which is probably one of the best things that I could have gotten because I would never lose my phone for some reason. And I have three of them. I got three of them. Phone number 1, phone number 2, and phone number 3. I'm just having a soft flex over here on the live stream. I would never lose my phones, but for some reason, I cannot keep my wallet. So when she got me a Father's Day gift, I opened it up and I saw the AirTag, brother. I busted out laughing. So I spent my Father's Day. She came over, she made some food for me because I can't cook. So shout out to her for doing that for me. I sat around and watched SWAT on Netflix, and now I'm here live with over 100-something people on the live streams, and you, Coach, doing our Sunday sports bar. So my Father's Day gift and Father's Day was fantastic, man. How was your Father's Day, and what did you get? Tell the people what you got.
Well, I gotta give a shout out to my baby girl. She came home. Now she's actually up at camp for a week to go work as a counselor for deaf kids, and this week, or right before she left, she gave me her Father's Day present, which was one of those feet massagers that you can plug into the wall. You can sit down on it, and it's kind of like a pair of slippers where it also has a heater on the bottom of it too. So in honor of my daughter, and I thank her very much for this very thankful gift that she gave me. For the past 30 or so minutes, however long I've been down here, I have been using this foot massager, and I plan on going throughout the entire show while my feet are getting massaged and warmed up throughout this whole thing out there. Maybe it'll keep me a little bit calmer every time I hear Julius Randle's name tonight.
Yeah. Hey, it's like you know me by now. I find a way to mention Julius Randle just to get Coach's blood pumping a little bit during our live stream today.
Oh, the blood's pumping right now. The blood's pumping through my feet, and I cannot complain about it whatsoever, man. This thing is doing wonders right now. I'm all nice and calm. I'm not uptight whatsoever. It's been a good Father's Day. Also, my wife got me an Invicta New York Jets watch.
Ooh,
yeah, cannot complain. This thing looks really nice. It's green. It's got the it looks like the field underneath it with the Jets logo, but it's an Invicta one. I didn't even have to take it out of the box, and it was already set to the time. So this thing's looks pretty nice, and I cannot complain about it whatsoever. I'm a Jet fan, and she definitely got me something that I will thoroughly wear and thoroughly enjoy for the next several years.
All right, Jets, Jets. I know the chant. I'm not a Jets fan, but I know the chant. David Cunningham said, "Can we?"
You know what JETS stands for, right?
No,
Just end the season.
Just end the season. I like it. David Cunningham said, "Can we also talk about Zion Williamson if we have time?"
Oh yeah,
if we have time for sure. So I'm going to star this one so that I know to take a look at it. I have starred your comment, David, and because I know that we talked about Zion a little bit last week. I haven't seen any updated news that's came out, but while we're doing the show, man, I'm gonna have my producer look up some stuff. Hey, producer, look up some stuff on Zion and see if we have any updates. Now, let's get the sports trivia out the way before we get into our first story. Okay, sports trivia. Coach, and to the viewers out there watching, y'all can chime in as well. No Googling, okay? Do not go to the Googles. What sport is best known as the king of sports? I saw this question. It had the word king in it. And I'm like, hey, that's my name. And the answer kind of surprised me. So sports trivia question today. And to those in the chat as well, don't look this up, but answer the question. What sport is best known as the king of sports? Coach, do you have an answer?
Uh, I am going to type this to you over in the private chat and tell me if I'm correct.
You are incorrect. Okay, Coach put his
Oh,
answer out there,
wow.
and
Wow.
I'm actually surprised by your answer. I wouldn't have thought this if I was
That's
asked.
the sport of kings. I take that back. Billiards is the sport of kings.
Okay, so Coach wrote billiards. All right.
Yeah, and that's the sport of kings, not the king of sports. The king of sports is something else now. I know what it is, but let's see what we got in the chats.
All right. So,
Any-
to the people
It's
out
that.
there watching, what sport is best known as the king of sports? Shout out to Grooming and Reviews 101 over there on YouTube. I see your comment, Pete. I appreciate you tuning in. All right. I'm going to give it another 15 seconds. I'm looking for the inputs. Nobody's putting in any of the inputs. If you got an answer, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Michelle Early, she has her input. She says, I'm going to say golf or cricket. So she put two. Okay, golf or cricket. All right. I've already said that billiards was incorrect. David Cunningham said chess. Okay,
That
so
ain't a sport. Chess isn't a sport.
chess ain't a sport, coach.
No, I mean that's like saying Texas Hold'em's a sport, even though ESPN puts it on. No, it's not a sport.
All right. So we got golf, cricket, and chess. I'm going to give about another 10 seconds. What sport is best known as the king of sports?
I think grooming and reviews means polo, not Paulo.
Polo. All right. So we've got golf, cricket, and polo. Polo is the one that you own the horses and you got the stick and you hit the balls, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
All right. Tiffany Henry says football. Okay. Tiffany Henry
Which one though?
would be correct if we're talking about the alternative football, which if you watch my intro on the sports bar, I say the real football is American football. But according to several sports journalists, the king of sports is soccer.
Yes.
The answer
Yes.
to our sports trivia today is what is best known as the king of sports. It's soccer. And I'm not surprised by that, man, because not just here in the US, but internationally, right? It's one of the sports that's played international, a lot of differing countries and stuff. You'll see soccer fields almost everywhere. And what surprised me was when I was stationed overseas and I came back to the States, it seemed like prior to 2006, you didn't see a lot of soccer fields in many places in the US. I go overseas to Okinawa for 3 years. I come back in 2009, and almost every public park now has soccer fields, man. So I was surprised by the growth of the sport like that. But yep, according to most major sports journalism publications, the king of sports is soccer. All right.
And that is internationally. We do have a U.S. bias with everything about it. But yeah, all over the world, soccer, what they call as football, is the king. It has been the king. I mean, the World Cup. I want to say that the largest viewing audience for any Super Bowl was 105 million. The World Cup final this year drew 500 million people, or not last year. The 500 million people were watching the final of the World Cup. That is, 5 times the highest rated Super Bowl, and that's how many people actually watched it internationally. It's always been that way. American football is only played in certain other countries, and even Australia has their own Australian league football or Australian rules football. Canada's got their own football, for crying out loud. But soccer, known football, king of all sports.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Let's check the comments here before we get into our quick hit news. Tiffany Henry said football is international, so that makes sense. Absolutely. Grooming and Review says it's a global game in Europe and they go bonkers for it. Yes, they do, man. People be wearing their soccer jerseys out to dinner dates over in Europe. David Cunningham said, I would say that soccer has the biggest fan base. There was a lot of news made about Messi coming over and playing for South Florida there in
Yeah, he's playing in Miami,
Miami.
Inter
Yeah.
Miami, I believe. Yeah.
And man, like I don't get it. So I don't follow soccer like that. Is Messi that good? Is he that good?
Yeah, yeah, Messi is that good. When he was at La Liga, I believe he played for either. I'm not sure if he either he played for Real Madrid or he played for Inter Milan, but one of the major leagues that are over there in Europe, he played for. Messi also won the World Cup last year, I believe, if I'm correct on there. Lionel Messi did win the World Cup last year, but he's been one of the global superstars. He was on FC Barcelona, and he is one of the highest paid athletes that's out there. And I will say this: this is just me saying this. I am more of a fan of the English Premier League, and the reason why I say I don't know that much about Messi is because he doesn't play in the EPL. Erling Haaland this year has been just phenomenal in that. But yeah, he's been Lionel Messi, one of the greatest. He's been in Barcelona and Argentina. He ended up winning the World Cup with them. One of the best that ever played.
Man, rock on. All right. Born in 1987. I cringed at the fact that he's younger than me and this dude's contract. So, second, according to Forbes, is considered the second highest. He's considered the second highest paid athlete in the world. Back in 2021, he signed a 3-year, $25 million a year deal with the Saudi Tourism Authority just to promote his travels there, and the deal requires him to take an annual vacation to the country and like post his pictures and his vacation and stuff and promote the country to his Instagram, which has currently over 472 million followers. I think that, and that's
That's
just
more than the Kardashians have.
and that's
No,
just
that's
to
truth.
travel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that is insane to me, man. I'm like, you know what? If I could go back in time, all right, you can't say that athleticism doesn't pay. Like he might have his skills be above like the average person. But man, instead of playing football, I might have given soccer a chance. I tried out for soccer one day and quit. I had a real good friend. He was a multi-sport athlete. I wanted to try soccer with him. And when we had to run around the soccer field like 15 times just for the warm-up, I said, nope, soccer ain't for me. Maybe I should go back and give that life a whole other
Uh,
chance, coach. Have you ever played soccer?
but no, no. I had several expletives and words that are considered too non-PC whenever I was talking about soccer before and when I was growing up. But I will say this about soccer, and as far as its popularity, Lionel Messi is coming in here as one of the greatest players and one of the most popular players worldwide whatsoever. You know who else did that? Guy by the name of Pele, who was considered the best ever. He ended up playing for the New York Cosmos in the 80s for their soccer league while he was on the decline or later on in his career. Same thing as Lionel Messi. There used to be that thing there everybody was going to say, yeah, soccer was going to blow up, soccer was going to do this, and it goes in waves. And I hear it every year that soccer is going to be bigger. And now that we've got these people, and now that David Beckham is coming over and playing, or now that Messi's coming over and playing, and it started back with Pele and all this, and America just has not picked up and followed soccer after all of these people have come over. And I don't anticipate it happening again. I truly don't.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. We've gone through multiple iterations of all of these great transcendent players that have come over to play soccer in the United States towards the later part of their careers. If we actually had somebody that came up through the U.S. through that are at the same level that these Messis or the Beckhams or the Pelés were, and they're these transcendent, phenomenal soccer stars, and they played in the MLS, you might have a bump in the popularity, but you haven't gotten any bump in popularity whatsoever.
Mm.
Does anybody, they're not gonna be as followed as closely as football, because football has been as ingrained in us as humanly possible. The NBA, the NHL, and MLB will have their dips and downs and ups and downs with popularity. But soccer has never been able to replace any of those four sports as the most popular sport or their popularity within this country. And I don't see Lionel Messi doing that.
Okay. Interesting. I like that take. David Christian Cunningham said Cristiano Ronaldo. Y'all see, I can't do long syllables.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano
Yes.
Ronaldo is the highest paid soccer player. He was. The figures that I'm looking at says that Messi's, well, it maybe just soccer. Messi's deals total is reported to be around 600 million euros, which is like almost $700 million.
Yeah.
Something like that. And
wow.
Cristiano makes about 200 million a year. So I don't know how that makes him the highest, because 600 million a year over 200 million a year is a big difference in my book.
I believe there was something that Messi has that, like, his salary isn't all that much, but apparently he's got ownership in Inter Miami, from my understanding.
Ah, okay. That's insane.
Yeah, like he was given an ownership sense.
Okay, yep, I see right here. It is reported that he's got a bit of an ownership stake in MLS, which is Major League Soccer, as well as a $2.5 billion deal with Apple, which has an agreement to also stream the league's matches for the next 10 years. Oh, man. Hey, Messi, let a brother hold a dollar, man. Hey, I'm good for it. I'll pay it back.
That's the Ted Lasso effect of that happening, being on there. Ted Lasso was pretty. If you haven't seen that show on Apple TV Plus, I would suggest doing that. But yeah, now that they got Ted Lasso over, they want to go ahead and bring MLS to everybody.
All right. Hey, look, y'all, if y'all hadn't hit that like button yet, we're streaming across platforms that have a like button. Mash that like button for us, all right? That helps us out on the show tremendously. I always forget to say that. Mash the like button. Before we get into our first story, which is Baby Gronk, let's hit quick news. So quick news is a segment here in which I'm going to read off headlines, and all I want is for Coach to give me maybe one sentence or something that kind of summarizes your thoughts on what the headline is. So are you good with that, Coach?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first, quick news, quick hits headlines. Longtime six-man Lou Williams retires from the NBA after 17 years.
Great role player, doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Glad that he had a great career. Will go down with several teams as one of the phenomenal players. Unfortunately, he won't get his due historically wise. That's what I gotta say.
All right. Wilt Chamberlain's rookie jersey nets a record $1.7 million at an auction.
I'd rather have the bed that Wilt Chamberlain slept with 10,000 women on.
Okay. next
That'll give me more money.
Next headline. End of the Jordan era. MJ completes the sale of the Charlotte Hornets.
Greatest player of all time cannot translate it into being the greatest owner of all time. And we've seen that throughout all of the history with guys like Wayne Gretzky, now Michael Jordan. Just because you're a great player doesn't make you a great executive and make you a great owner. But it sucks that there is no minority owners in the NBA.
All right. Final one, and I'll let you go a little bit long on this one because we could have made this a whole segment, but we talked about this dude a lot recently. But we're gonna keep it to a quick hits. You do get more than one sentence on this one. John Morant suspended 25 games for this upcoming season.
John Morant deserved a lot more with what was out there. And I was saying that he should have been gone for the entire season. And I equated it last week to what happened with Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was a 50-game suspension that was spanned over 2 seasons for him drawing a gun into the locker room against his teammate. I really don't think that this guy, John Morant, should have stepped out on the court. I think basically Adam Silver just buckled down underneath the pressure. Let me put it to you this way: John Morant flashing a gun looks as bad as everything happened. Kermit Washington got 26 games, a game longer than that, for punching and breaking Rudy Tomjanovich's face in 1977. So a guy who throws a punch out on the court in the heat of a battle gets a longer suspension than a guy who is not once but twice had 2 public videos, and after of him brandishing a gun. And that second video came after he was told to watch what he was doing and did not give a crap. I think he should have been suspended a heck of a lot longer, but 25 games. John Morant's going to come back next year. Next year is going to be a wash, and let's see what's going to happen. He's got to pull himself back together and get a little bit more mature than what he's got.
Yep. Now I'll throw this on too. Actions have to speak louder than words on this one because the first time it happened, he got in hot water. There was a statement that was put out. He also talked on a couple of different interviews as well about being better role model for the kids and all this and that. And then I mean, it wasn't even like months later. You're talking like a couple of weeks go by, and it's the same old thing. And I read his most recent story that got put out by Nike, and I'm just like, you know what? I read maybe the first 2 sentences and then I stopped because I'm like, these words don't matter. All right, let's see what his actions show in the next 6 months. How about that? Just 6 months. Tiffany Henry said, speaking of Nike, he didn't even lose his Nike deal either. Slap on the wrist. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, Spanky's in the building.
Got a phenomenal one. Hey, Spanky.
Spanky said, happy Father's Day, sports dudes. Happy Father's Day to you. Wait, hold on. I can't just assume stuff. Let me shut up. Next comment. Plaxico Burris got 2 years in jail for shooting himself in the leg with a gun that was not registered to him. You know, Coach talked about this too. If the gun got discharged or something went off, then yes, it would be a bigger story. Just flashing and doing all this and that, I wouldn't necessarily say is a bad thing. Yet you have to understand what your image is and what the culture is as well, and act in a way that makes you understand that you get what the culture looks like. And in my opinion, John Morant, he wants to be a street dude when he shouldn't be a street dude. When he's not a street dude, okay? Like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that at that.
He's a daggone small town country boy from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Don't you remember, like, on the first day, him and daggone Ray Allen, grew up in the same small ass town near Columbia, South Carolina. He is no Memphis thug. He is nobody from the south side of Chicago. He sure as hell ain't from Jackson Heights or anywhere else, or Washington Heights up in New York. He is not from anywhere around there where he grew up as a thug. He grew up as a daggone country boy. All right, let's be quite honest here. And now that he's doing all this stuff, it's just showing the lack of maturity and the easily influencing that he has. That's not leadership. That's leadership. And 25 games still does not. It still is. I don't agree with it.
All right. Let's see. There's 2 more comments on this, and then we're going to go into our first story talking about Baby Gronk. All right. Let's see. Tiffany Henry said, if that's what he wants, then put him on the streets. Wasted talent. He isn't a good role model for kids. I agree. I would also add, should he be? I always talk about that. Is hey, you don't go into sports to be like, oh man, I'm gonna be a role model. I think it's a marketing tool, right? You don't want your players to be known as thugs, as you can't market that or troublemakers or whatever. So they have this thing, for the kids because hey, look, having kids and taking your family is what generates revenue. Buying jerseys and all of this stuff. So it's a marketing thing. I would ask, should he be required to be a role model? I always
It shouldn't be required, and athletes should not be role models. But again, they can't be distractions to the team. And now, like I said months ago, he's now cost his team 25 games next season. And it's become a distraction from on the court, and now it's affecting him on the court or off the court. Now it's now it's affected him on the court.
I like David Cunningham. He says, I'm not calling him Ja. He gets the Jamel treatment today. He said if Jamel is so worried about his security, he should hire a security detail. I agree. David said, I'm not calling him Ja. He gets the Jamel treatment today. All right.
I didn't even know his name was Jamel.
But hey, me neither. Hey, man, Coach, let's get into our first story here. So I covered this earlier in the week on my personal vlog because I thought it was an interesting story. And this dude's been blowing up in the media. He's considered a 10-year-old football prodigy whose real name is Madden San Miguel, but he goes by the moniker Baby Gronk. If you take a look at all of his social media, which is TikTok, Instagram, he's got a Facebook page under the kid's real name that has several hundreds of thousands of followers. The kid looks like an athlete. Now they're showing all of these clips of him training. He's been on various interviews. JJ Watt chimed in and said that hey, kids should be kid. Nobody in middle school needs to be training that hard like professional athletes. And the people out there are real split on how this dad is treating his kid. Now, I'm going to share this Yahoo article. All right. Shout out to Yahoo for putting this article together. But if you take a look at this kid's Instagram page right here, this is Livy, who we've covered, right? And if you take a look at the kid, he's got the Baby Gronk bling, all on himself. Definitely marketing the brand. He's considered a football prodigy, but if you ask his dad said baseball is actually his best sport. Let's see. The dad, some people are saying that the dad is living out his dream through his son because his dad mentioned that he was a football star himself, but tore his ACL. Claims that he has friends all through the NFL and different coaches in the Power 5 stuff. He's taking his kids on different college tours, and they've been filming it all. And my personal opinion of everything, I am all for it. In my opinion, he's doing something that a lot of fathers may not have the ability to do, or just may not have the time to do because of them working a normal 9 to 5, or if they're running a business, then they're taking their time to run the business. But the way that he's promoting his son, they're saying that allegedly, now this wasn't verified, that Baby Gronk's making about $100,000 a year on just the social media posts and stuff, and they're building out this brand. And I say go for it. Do it. This kid's gonna have more discipline than the average kid out there. And whether it's sustainable or not, I think getting this kind of exposure can help the kid when he gets a little bit older. The only negative part I have is that now it's all eyes on him, right? If you're lined up across from him, now you're gonna be the one that wants to have the hardest hit on Baby Gronk. You'll be the one that want to, shut him down and things like that, which, other side of the coin, raises competition. Okay. So with the stuff that I mentioned about his dad, there was one interview, which I'm not going to play it because I think we are going to get dinged for playing that interview. He was kind of force feeding his son answers. But then again, I say to you, the kid's 10 years old. I guarantee if he hasn't had media training by now, he is going to have media training with the exposure that he's getting on his social media. So, coach, what say you, man? Could you put your kids on Front Street like this to try to raise their star power a bit?
I'm going to give a very hard no. And
Mm,
part of that reason is because I have been exposed to it on a smaller level, and I have seen it secondhand on a higher level.
okay.
I'm going to say exposed to it in this sense right here. And we're going to go with the parents and pushing the sports and things like that. Okay. I grew up in a family that, for me, I wanted to be a basketball player, and I wanted to do other sports, and I wanted to have a wide variety of sports. So I did that throughout high school. I played. I was actually on the swim team. I played basketball. I played baseball. I also played lacrosse. All right, so 4 different sports in high school that I played. I had a brother of mine who was a big baseball player back in high school. All right. And I'm not quoting Bruce Springsteen here as a metaphor. This is actually the truth. That being said, he was always pushed with baseball, baseball, baseball. And I saw all of these baseball hovering helicopter parents that kept pushing the sport. And my brother was included on that, of him being pushed and being pushed by the parents and doing it. My brother right now is not as adaptive to this world as it comes out through it. So that being said, I would say that I've seen the negative side effect of those things happening. And I've seen where when parents push their kids into doing something that, even though they might like doing, there creates an unreal expectation in which the kid is not able to develop himself and needs more help than anything else in order to adapt to society. So there's a fine line of pushing them to be good and be able to be adaptable. And I hope that maturity actually manifests itself. Now, the one that I have seen secondhand is a little bit more damning to the parents, because I have seen these parents who are pushing their kids as if they are pageant stars or sports prodigies. It's happened too many times in the past where the parents have become more the distraction, and the kids weren't able to actually pull this out. For every Richard Williams that has Serena and Venus, I did get that right? Richard Williams, that's who Will Smith played in that movie. Yeah.
Serena's dad. Yep,
So
Richard.
yeah, Serena's dad. Yeah, Richard Williams. So for every Richard Williams, there are 10 others that you have never heard of, and their kid has never made it out of high school, or never made it out of college, or never made it to the pros. Or if they did go into the pros, like somebody mentioned Todd Marinovich over in one of the in the comments, they end up fizzling out and not becoming that. For every LeBron James and every prodigy, in fact, we're coming up on the NBA draft, so every Webby that's coming up here too, there is always going to be about 5 to 10 others that you're not going to hear of. The success rate isn't the greatest when these parents are putting way too much influence and trying to get their kids out and doing all these other things. To allow it to happen naturally, and for them to mature out of it, unlike John Morant or all of these other people that haven't matured out of it, is the way to go in order for them to be successful. But I forewarn Baby Gronk and Baby Gronk's father for this absolute push in media out there. They might be selling a kid, but then the time that 22 or 23 comes around, Baby Gronk's going to be forgotten just in the names, just like my brother, just like all of these other people that have come around there, and they're not going to be that great sports prodigy. But speaking of that, whatever happened to we got you got LaMelo, Lonzo, and what's the other ball brother?
That was my point. LaMelo, Leangelo, and God
Where's
doggone it. What's the
you
third
got?
one?
Yeah, you got you got LaMelo or Melon, Leangelo, and Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo.
So
Lonzo
yeah,
Ball.
Lonzo. Yeah. So you got one of the ball players is pretty well regarded. The other one, I still know he's in the NBA. I'm not sure if he's an all-star or not. And what the hell happened to that third one out there? What is he playing in Europe now? Is he playing for the Polynesian, papayas over in the Philippine League or something like that? What the hell is he doing? And remember, his father was that one that His father was the one that was always trying to push him out there, and he tried to get
LeVar
his five
Ball.
minutes of
Yep.
fame.
I am. Hey,
Yeah, LeVar Ball or
I'm a
whatever the hell his
huge
name
LeVar
was.
Ball fan. I think that what he did for his sons elevated them, and got them out there. And then from there, they just had to play ball.
Yeah, and look at the maturity where it comes out for it. Now, Lamelo or whatever the hell, whichever ball is, one of them has actually been able to pull it. But like I said, now you're 1 for 3 on the total prodigies. For every Serena, there's somebody else that came down the line that isn't able to do that. I'm coming up with that one, and you're repelling the odds, and I'm just saying the odds at that part. Parents should just let things happen naturally, shouldn't have to push them. And I'm hoping this Baby Gronk kid is not getting pushed when he wants to, go over and read a Playboy. He doesn't, or, oh, wow, I'm definitely showing my age there. Um, when he wants to do things that kids his age want to go ahead and do, I hope his father's not forcing him to, run 7-on-7 drills with people that he pays $100,000 for just to train with his kid.
Okay. Hey man. So this story has a lot of different angles and things. As y'all see, Coach and I defer on our response. I'm all for it. Do I think that it could be detrimental? Yes. Would I be how do I let me make sure I say this right? Would I be okay with going through it and things don't work out? I think I would rather have the opportunity to make the push and try to get my kid's name out there than to not have the opportunity and then they don't get the chance to showcase it, and then what? That's my take on it. But I want to talk about what Tiffany wrote here, since she took the time to write this over on Facebook. So Tiffany Henry wrote, "Look, my daughter's sport is basketball. She plays travel ball all year. She's been doing it since she has for the last 4 years. I'm kind of having to fill in the blank here. The last couple of months, she let me know that she's feeling a bit burnt out and that her knees are hurting her. She trains hard. Let's see. And then you go on the right. I refuse to push her and make her fall out of love with the sport that both her and I love. I refuse to not let her just be a kid. Baby Gronk's dad was literally feeding him interview answers and talking about him not playing middle school football or anything. I don't think I can show the whole. Okay, so it's not showing the whole thing. So I have to read it out loud here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he was just going to have him get massages with baddies. That will do nothing for him. Only 1% make it to the big leagues, and the dad is just pushing the kid into the limelight when I bet he doesn't really want it. He is just 10. Let him be out riding bikes with his friends and playing video games while talking smack. She also said earlier she trains hard. Her heart's been in the game since day one. I'm just listening to her and giving her a few weeks off to recover and reassess before fall ball. All right. So Tiffany's a parent. Her daughter has been playing ball. I'm assuming Tiffany was a baller as well. She said the sport that they both love. And she's saying that her daughter's like, hey, look, mom, I'm burnt out. I'm starting to get burnt out. My knees is hurting. Okay. And she's listening to her kid. I think if that's the case, then yeah, listen to what your kids talking about, because you don't want to overtrain them. You don't want to overtrain them over there's people that say that your body your knees and cartilage and stuff can only handle so many jumps, right? That's why you hear of athletes and having to do certain things. Hey, Coach Prime may have to get his foot amputated, right? This guy was prime of the position of cornerback, multi-sport athlete, played through several entries at the highest level, right? But he's getting paid millions of dollars to do it. And 20, 30 years later, might have to get his foot amputated. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And that's what I kind of see with Tiffany's message and thing like that, is how far do you go? She says that she refuses to push her kid. Okay. Okay. I don't know what I would do. My kid is athletic, man, and it's frustrating because she doesn't like sports at
Hey,
all.
hey, hey, but you know what? You have to put that modicum of respect for the kid and not have them not push them so hard that they're actually thinking of just giving it up and try, even though that's the path you want them to take. You got to allow them to go with their own path. I mean, the overbearing parent is kind of been gone, and I understand some people want to give a little bit too much free will, but being an overbearing parent, you'll end up having certain situations where that kid's going to end up rebelling against you for whatever reason it is that they want to rebel against you for. Whether they're just tired of doing the thing that you want them to do, or they just want to do this because they want to chart the path in their own life. You have to respect it, and you have to give the kids the opportunity to grow up and become their own people. Because if not, then you'll end up just having another person who's not going to be adjusted in this life, and they're not going to be as successful as you want them to be. They're going to be wondering what the hell happened to them and crying and complaining about them not getting a break because everything to them was already handed to them at a young age, and they believe that's the way life is. Life's tough, man. Life is daggone tough. You got to go out and you got to work for what you want and what you got to get. And you got to give these kids the opportunity to learn and do that. We sit back here as people who had to work to get whatever we wanted. King, you didn't get everything handed to you. And I've been blessed with a lot of different things that happened in my life. So I can't say that I haven't been that, but I know damn well how hard I had to work for several of the things in life you know, that I wanted to get. It wasn't just given to me. But I know that there's several people that are out there that they feel that it just should be given to them because of who they are or how they grew up. That ain't the way the world is, man. And you got to go out and you got to work for the shit that you want to actually have to happen to you, man.
Okay. Hey, what wins? Talent or hard work?
Hard work wins. Hard work plus talent makes greatness. And this is where I say that. Michael Jordan was the hardest person who ever worked in there during practice, but he had the talent in order to accommodate all of the hard practicing that it was on. If you've ever seen the that ESPN documentary, The Last Dance, you will hear stories time and time again of Jordan getting after people in practice, his own teammates in practice. And it was to get them better so that this way everybody was better. And that's the best player in the game that happened, that was doing that. So you have to be that if you want to be one of the all-time greats. You have to be that one who is disciplined and practice and works his butt off, and you should be working your butt off harder than anybody else, but you do need that talent.
All right. I like that answer. That was part of my message on Tuesday on my personal vlog, man. I just talked about the three things that you need, which I said were talent, hard work, and luck. You have to have a bit of luck. Look, you need the right
Yeah,
people to see what you've got going on or whatnot to offer you a chance.
yeah.
But when you get offered that chance or you get up to that stage, you better be ready.
And that goes for a lot of different aspects in life because here's one, and we sing his praises a lot. CQ, okay, he's got the talent and he's got the hard work that he's doing it. But he does need a little bit of luck, and I guarantee you, the moment that he gets his luck, he'll go ahead and he'll be exploding faster than whatever the heck we have. He make that joke saying, "Hey, don't forget about us when you get big." He's got that hard work and dedication. It's just that little bit of luck, and I guarantee our boy CQ will end up, getting a heck of a lot more accolades and more recognition than we will ever dream of.
I agree, but just not to make his head go big, I'm gonna clip that part out of the stream.
Good, 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 good.
Shout
Let's
out.
keep him humble.
Yes, exactly. Keep him humble. Shout out to CQ over there at Pop Culture Warrior, one of our amazing hosts here at WTF Nation Radio. David Cunningham said the big baller shoes were a bust. Yes. Hey, look, they tried. I have to give them
Oh,
points for trying. Big baller brand, triple B's, LeVar Ball walking in there. Big baller brand. right? They put out shoes. The Suns were trying to play them, but if you looked at almost, I don't know if there was a contract thing with them not being able to wear them on the court or whatnot. They had to fight some legal stuff, but then you never really heard the kids bigging up the shoes and stuff either. It was an absolute buzz, but they tried, man. They tried to put that brand out there, and it just didn't
You
catch
remember
on.
you remember back in the day when what's his name, Stefan Marbury tried doing that same daggone thing
Yes.
and fell flat on his face because they sold him at like that one discount store that ended up going under.
Yes, I forgot about that. But the moment you said Stephon Marbury, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, his Starberries, which cost like $14 or something like that, was going to be his shoe. Yeah, even $15 shoes, you weren't able to pull that out. You got to be a transcendental talent in order for that to happen. You
Hey.
know, and I'm not saying, look, who's the last person who had his own brand? Oh, MJ. You have to be the best of the best. You know, and let's be quite honest, if and rest in heaven, Kobe. If Kobe was outside of the NBA, I guarantee you Kobe could have had his own brand and his own line, and it would have been successful. You got to be that transcendent star.
Yep, yeah, have to be the transcendent star. Have to have the right people around you as well. Look, they tried to do the grassroots thing, which I thought was awesome. But you could also say, hey, maybe they could have, right? But look, the kids would have all had to have been excellent for it to like jump off, and they weren't, superstars, right? Leangelo, the one that plays for the Hornets. Like you hear a lot of the other NBA players giving him props. Like the youngest ball
Mm-hmm.
brother is actually that dude. Like he can be a superstar if he can stay from being distracted.
That's
Um,
the one who I was thinking about. I
mhm.
couldn't remember which one it was, and he's already in my own backyard, and I have no idea who the hell he is.
There's one more thing about the Baby Gronk story, and then we're gonna go to the next thing. There's this term called sharenting, right? The term is called Sharrington, coined around 2017, and it's the parent shaping of their child's internet identity. And what people are talking about, like in this age of social media and things like that, is, and I actually struggle with this. So I like sharing pictures of my family. It is how I choose to keep in contact with the world and with like my family because I don't live near my family. So for them to like kind of keep up with me and my daughter and everything, I like sharing pictures of me. I like sharing pictures of my daughter. Well, my daughter came to me about 2 years ago, man, and it frustrated me initially because I wasn't like oversharing or anything. I was just images that I thought were cool to share. I'd want to share them. She came to me and said she would want me to get her permission before I posted anything of her online. And initially, I felt some type of way about that because I'm like, I'm the father. Who are you to tell me I can and can't share, right? But then I went and did some research and I thought about it. So sometimes the way that like your image and how you're portrayed, like I put my stuff out there in the way that I want to for me, but for my daughter, how she wants to be portrayed may not be how I'm portraying her. And I'm still split on it. I chose to honor that, but see, here's kind of the other thing too. Now I don't really ask if like I don't post as much because I don't want to be, hey, is it okay if I post this picture of you? I'm not fucking doing that. I'm just not doing it. So I wait until she says, hey, dad, it's cool to post this, like before I post anything. What do you think about that?
Hey, giving the kids the autonomy and asking them for permission is a sign of respect for it. Now, something as small as, hey, this is what we're doing, we're out and having a good time as a family, and this is going on my Facebook page, or this is going on an Instagram photo, or something like that. And My kids can get over it. That's what I'm saying. But those people that are, scheduling posts and trying to put up freaking Instagram posts and editing daggone videos for their kids' social media pages and shit, that's way too daggone much. Doing something for your kid and putting it on there, I think the kid just, I'm not going to say needs to shut up and just be okay with it, but I mean, what if it's, as long as it's not embarrassing and it's something for the family, I don't see a daggone problem with it, and you shouldn't have to worry about it. But if you're shaping your kids' freaking social media presence just for their gain and trying to show something else, even though that's not real life, and let's be quite honest with you, a 30-second clip of a video or a TikTok video once a day of somebody in their life is not encompassing of what their life is actually like. Why in the hell are you doing something like that? You need to be, need to make a real good assessment of if you're doing this for the betterment of your kid.
All right. Yep. I agree. Hey, we talked about.
Sorry, this massager is still getting going right now. I'm on my
Yeah.
third pull up right here, and my feet are feeling great.
I like it, man. Hey,
that's why I'm not yelling tonight.
speak of the devil, and he shall appear. He popped up and said, "Sup, fellas?" Right after we got through talking about it. It's like his ears be tingling when he hears me talking about him. All right.
That's not that. That's not ears. That's ego.
Salute to my man CQ over at Pop Culture Warrior. We got Carl White in the building. What up, Carl? I appreciate you popping in. Tiffany said, I'm going to be rocking them Shacks at Walmart before I put any of them triple Bs on my feet. Didn't Lonzo develop some knee or ankle issues from wearing them? Yes, it was reported that he had to essentially stop wearing them because it was causing him to have ankle issues. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. So Michelle early shared something that I'm also trying to get here on the sports bar. I know somebody who does NIL presentations and things down in South Florida. His company's kind of gotten into that. They got into the market for a lot of the colleges and things down there. And I want to get him on to talk about this. But Michelle said that we had an entire SEL lesson about sharing in the classroom in school this year. So I want to kind of get somebody around the sports marketing lifestyle to come on and share with our viewers like what all that means, like what's the pros and cons with the way that we got sharing and NIL deals and social media and marketing. I think we can get some value in understanding that, especially people here who have kids that are into athletics and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah. And I'll end my little input on this. The only person who I follow on social media who's kind of considered small or anything on that is that Hezbollah guy. That's about the only guy who I actually follow online who looks like a kid, even though he's like 35 years old or whatever the hell he is. And yeah, whatever. So maybe if your kid is a 30-year-old midget from Russia, that's who I will. That's who I'll follow.
All right. David said that the Kardashians are over the top with the posting of their kids. I agree.
Do you expect any different?
Exactly.
This is where that whole thing comes up with maturity and everything. I mean, nobody has ever claimed that these Kardashian kids are the most well-balanced people in the United States whatsoever.
Yep. Michelle said that her niece is 12.
Hey, they're so well balanced. I mean, look what they did to Kanye, look what they did to Lamar, and look what they did to Bruce.
Hey, man. Hey, dudes aren't learning. I've said people don't learn.
Kanye's a racist. Lamar and Chris Humphrey's careers completely declined after being a Kardashian, and now Bruce is Caitlyn.
Folks don't learn, man. Hey, Bruce is. Oh, man. Hey,
now you know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Let's see. So Michelle said that her niece is 12 and that if she takes a pic, it's getting posted. but she's already conditioned her to that behavior. But with my kid, she do ask her before she posts that she is not her child. And I thank you for that.
All
Tiffany
right.
said that she can't stand the Kardashians. Hey, I don't get it. I don't understand it, right? They're a marketable family. They've done a fantastic job, them Kardashians and Jenners, of just being, existing, and making money. I can't hate whatsoever because if I could do it, hey, hold on, make me bigger. If I could do
Oh,
it, I definitely would. That's what she said. Make me bigger. If I could do it, I would. If I could market myself and make money doing it online and sell my soul, I just might do it for millions of dollars.
man, I would never do that. I would never put my dignity down to go ahead and pull that out. That being said, U.S. Army WTF Moments comes to you 6 nights a week.
Hey, I'm wearing my sports bar shirt, man. I forgot to show that earlier today.
Oh,
Got the sports
nice.
bar merch rocket. I'm gonna make sure I try and rock it every Sunday, man. Let's see. SEL stands for thank you. I was going to ask you because I was about to Google it. Social emotional learning, SEL. It's something that we are mandated to discuss in the post COVID classroom. So if you can't pick up context clues, Michelle is a teacher. Michelle is a
Hmm.
teacher. David said Lonzo Ball may be retiring soon from the Bulls because of medical issues with 3 knee surgeries, which is unfortunate. Lonzo wasn't bad. He was able to earn his spots with the different teams that he played for, which were the Lakers and then I want to say the Bulls. I want to say those have been the only 2 teams that he's played with. And when he was healthy,
No, I thought he was on the Pelicans because he got traded for Davis.
let's take a look. Let's take a
I think
look.
I think yeah. If I'm right, Lonzo was one of the key deals that got was one of the key in the package for
Oh
Anthony
yeah,
Davis when he
yeah.
got traded there.
Drafted by the Lakers 2 years, 2 years with the Pelicans, and then he's been with the Bulls since 2021. That's right. Thanks for
Yeah.
putting that out there. And look, the kid's talented. There's no doubt about that. But when he's healthy, he's been a starter. I would put him as a straight up point guard. He's not like a scorer like his younger brother is, but he can read the floor and make plays. When you watch him play and you're looking at the eye test, he is a starter. But if his knees can't stay healthy, then he might have to call it early, which is interesting. I wonder if he has the mindset and leadership to like be a coach. Okay. But he just had a surgery March 16 of this year, and the surgery has already ruled him out a majority of the upcoming NBA league year, and it could potentially force him to retire from basketball altogether. Man, okay. Maybe kids should be kids and you shouldn't have them be athletes early on because there's the people that subscribe to you only have a certain amount of heartbeats. I've
Hmm.
heard that with NBA players or jumpers or people that primarily bound, your knees can only take so much springiness like prior to cartilage and all of that stuff getting out. I
Yep.
don't I don't have any cartilage
Hey,
in my left knee. None.
hey, same thing happens to everybody who jumped out of a perfectly good airplane and decided to do that for only 150 bucks a month for the U.S. government. Wonder
Mm-hmm.
who used to do that,
Yep. Getting
and whose ankles it was who had to go through 2 ankle reconstruction surgeries.
Yep. A lot of our jumpers out there, pararescue, those type of guys, they're getting that jump pay, but over time, is that extra jump pay worth hips, ankles, and knees that you have to get reconstructed after your time's done?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there for this. Fuck yeah, it was, man. I love jumping out of airplanes. Freaking airborne all the way. All right. Yeah, back at Bragg, not Liberty. It was definitely worth it for me because I was part of the 82nd Airborne Division and absolutely hated it while I was there and loved it looking back.
Hey man, y'all are a different breed, man. Y'all are a
Yeah, we
different
are.
breed.
We're all stupid.
Hey, I wouldn't say that. I would not say that yet, but I got the chance to see some of y'all training down at was it Gordon? It was one of them
Mm.
bases in Georgia, man. I got the chance to see some of the airborne do some training, and man, I was like, "Yep, Couldn't be me. Could not be me.
Oh God.
All right. Hey, I'm going to bring this next story up, and it's going to be a downer. So we ain't going to spend too much time on this one, but it's a Father's Day related story because when I say the name, you're going to instantly know who we're talking about. Ray Lewis III was found unresponsive a couple of days ago. And if that name is familiar, it is because he is the son of NFL Hall of Famer linebacker Ray Lewis. Now, initially, when I heard the news and it popped up on my phone, I said, wait, what? Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure that the kid's not that old. He was younger than me, 28 years old. And police were called to his home in Central Florida on Wednesday, and the news came out that when officers arrived, Ray Anthony Lewis III was found unresponsive from a suspected drug overdose. Now, I don't have a history of drugs. I personally don't know anybody that's had drug overdoses or issues. So I don't know much about this world, right? But I'm thinking, like, as a father, if my, like, let's say if I knew my kid was on drugs, I'd be doing everything I could to get them to not do it. But maybe his dad didn't know. So I don't know. Like, do you have any knowledge of how substance abuse or drugs can like affect a family? And do you have any stories that you'd be able to share about this, coach? Because I thought it was devastating. I just I don't understand that world.
So not so much as far as substance abuse. I will kind of mention that it was suspected I had a cousin who passed away. It might have been a drug overdose. We don't know. He had a heart attack at a young age. My father, he drank a lot. So, I mean, alcoholism is kind of a thing. He passed away at 66 to cirrhosis of the liver. People could say that natural causes and things like that, but I never had anything happen where my son or somebody who was younger, unfortunately, passed away to substance abuse. I had seen that with other families that I was at when I was a manager over at a local homeless mission. We had a woman who lost two daughters in a matter of 6 months, and both of them did that off of drug addiction.
Oof.
And it ends up tearing up families. It makes them feel bad on that. I've noticed families do have those types of issues and kind of the torment that it brings around the kids and brings around everything. So I don't have the firsthand experience, but I have seen it secondhand where, it does do damage to the kids growing up and it does do damage to the family immediately, especially with drug abuse.
Yep. Not too long ago, I think it was this year, there was a comedian by the name of Ricky Smiley. His son had a battle, or as he said, struggled with drugs, and his son passed away from drug usage. Man, dude, coach, I saw this and like, I don't know this family, right? I don't know Ray Lewis. I don't know his 28-year-old son, but substance abuse or substance misuse to me, it's a world that I'll never understand. So I've read different stories about why people did it. They were battling different demons, going through stress that, they felt that nobody really understood. I heard different
But
people.
but no, go ahead, buddy.
No, I'd also heard different people in different groups said that they can't understand how somebody who may have seemingly had everything chooses to pop pills, take fentanyl, and do drugs. And because I don't live that life, I just don't understand it.
I agree with you. I don't live that life either. When it comes down to prescription medication, I do take them as it is. But at one point, I did see what that whole thing was as far as the prescription pills, and within our community, a lot of us were given those painkillers, especially during the last half of the tens and the way that the military medication was, the military healthcare was using the the pills and everything that they had for oh God, I don't know whether I broke this, but my massager now just stopped massaging. Uh oh.
No.
No, that's not good. I have had it going for the past hour and a half, so maybe it needs a little bit of a break, but that's not good to hear. Yeah, regardless of that, within our community, we do know that several people have been prescribed prescription painkillers, and the VA is just nothing but a pharmaceutical dump with the way that they try to treat most of the things, give the pill and move it out, and the way that these narcotics, especially the painkillers, are with with the drug interaction that they have, it does create a certain dependency on it, and it certain creates a euphoric element in some people that can see it. So progressing harder and harder through that, I can see how that happens. I just don't understand it either, though. But
Okay. Let's see. We have some comments about this that I want to bring up here. Michelle Early said, substance misuse is a mental health disorder and should not be treated with contempt and hard heartedness. Hard heartedness. Is that a word? Hey, it sounds like a word. People who suffer from it need help and support, not judgment. And she said, I also agree with Coach. Substance misuse impacts the entire family, financially, emotionally, mentally, and etc. David Cunningham said, I hope he did not die of fentanyl. It seems to be a death sentence for all that uses it and the top killer of drug abuse today. Yes, every time I hear of somebody dying of drug use or misuse or whatnot, fentanyl seems to be that ingredient that's knocking people off. To me, it's like if I'm hearing this and I'm aware of this, I'm staying away from it. But that's just me. I don't know. Michelle said, please, I urge you, get Narcan training. It's free and it saves lives. I asked in the chat if you've had that training, Michelle, and where can people get it from? I mean, I can Google it, but if you know where people can get it from, please provide that resource in the comments. And thank you. Tiffany Henry said, I teach at an alternative school, and sadly, the students I teach get into using and dealing drugs for these reasons: survival, comfort, way of life, or to fit in. Survival, comfort, way of life, or to fit in. So either using or dealing drugs. Let me ask you, and you don't have to disclose where. Please don't do that. Is the area that you're teaching um like low economical area? I'm gonna throw this out there. I've had several volunteer efforts with various nonprofits into schools in the inner cities of Baltimore, right? And comparing it to where the school district in that my kid is in, I mean, it's night and day. They do well with what they can, but when you hear the lives of these kids and these students and what they go through, like, and they're open about sharing the stuff, which I thought was both cool and sad at the same time. Like they're what they've been used to seeing, needles and drug overdoses and stuff from their mom, dad, or brothers or sisters. It's something that the average kid should not have to see, man. Yet in certain areas, it's their way of life. Let's see.
oh, daggone, I didn't realize I was on mute out of there. That's an absolute, it's a sad way, and it is a sad thing. The cycle of poverty, or the cycle of violence, or the cycle of the way growing up. And that's unfortunate that people can't come out on there. I'm glad that Michelle is putting some information out there for everybody to take a look at how to get trained up on the Narcan. I'm not personally, I'm not trained up on how to do that. And I understand, even with the community that I involve myself with, there might be a good thing for everybody to actually be able to pull that out and put it on. I just hate the fact that fentanyl has been used for quite a while, and that's another painkiller that has been used for medical personnel before it became illegal, and somehow a way that it was brought up synthetically. Dave Cunningham, do not put that freaking score into the chat. I've been watching the game the whole day, and I've been okay. And now that my daggone foot massager is not working, I'm getting a little perturbed, and that just got me a little bit more perturbed.
I saw it, man. I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up." But I've been keeping that score update on my screen.
Dave, for you, happy motherfuckers day. It ain't Father's Day for you because you a motherfucker.
Michelle said that you can go to your county health department for the training, and that Narcan is typically offered for free from pharmacies because it helps saves lives. All right, so man, how much time do we have? We have time. What? I heard of this program. So before I go into that, I'm going to say with this story that I'm sharing, this is as reported by MSN, allegedly, right? The police report said that there was a blue pill near his body and that authorities also found needles and a plastic bag inside of an empty beer can. It remains unclear whether the young man was actually using drugs. That's the type of stuff that's going to be in an autopsy, which are they private? Because people seem to get these, stuff from the autopsies and then it be posted to where people can dissect it. But that seemed like it would be like a private health thing. How are people getting this information, man?
The family does have to request it, but it depends on what type of who does the coroner's report. If the coroner's report is done by a hospital or something like that, then it doesn't have to be done unless there's some type of litigation in which the ways that it have to come out. Think Michael Jackson dying. And then if it's done and it's done in a public court and the public coroner has to cause the cause of death, then that is public information. Our governments are the ones pulling it in an order of transparency. It has to be done through a FOIA request.
Okay. Oh, Tiffany had a response to my question. Okay, great. I have students who are low income and ones who are on the other end of the income spectrum as well. I even have famous celebrity offspring that come through drug use does not discriminate. Okay. Okay. You know what? Story time. Before I go into my rant. Uh I dated somebody who was a recovering drug addict. And we went to this comedy show that was headlined, and it was like a traveling comedy um circuit for drug users. And I thought that it was a really interesting thing. Like a majority of the people in the crowd were people that had gotten past it, but then as you hear these comedians, tell jokes, but they're talking about, their life when they were on drugs and things like that. Man, it was people from all walks of life. So Tiffany is right. Drug use does not discriminate. One of the headlines was somebody that when I Googled the person, they had a real high net worth, like while they were during the time periods that they were on drugs. So yeah, drug usage or just being around drugs definitely does not discriminate. But hearing the stories about how some of the people got into drug uses, man, for me, like I said, I haven't been in that lifestyle. I don't know anything about drug use. So I don't understand how people can get wrapped up in it.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Yeah, and she says she does not teach in an inner city area. Okay. All right.
Oh.
I didn't want to assume. I was just sharing my experience. Let's see. And Michelle gave two additional resources where you can do it from the CDC as well as local resource for me as well. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you as always. Now, before we actually move on, I'm going to kind of get into a rant. I've heard about these programs that some cities are offering around drug use, right? Hold on. Let's put a disclaimer out there. We here at WTF Nation Radio do not promote the uses of drugs. All right. However, if you know people that do use drugs, I guess Narcan helps. But there's cities that are having these programs where they're offering like free Narcan stuff and taking them to these known drug use areas and just dropping them off. And I'm like, on one hand, I get it, but on the other hand, is this taxpayer resources for people that are killing themselves? I disagree with that, Coach. I disagree with that
That's
wholeheartedly.
and that's something that we've people in San Francisco have been fighting around there. Everybody talks about the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, where it looks like walking zombies, drug users, naked people shitting in the middle of the streets, and a bunch of theft that's happening. And then these safe injection sites, at least they say that they're trying to do this out of respect for the people because they're still living humans, but all you're doing is truly enabling those people to continue down a bad path, regardless of what you feel about it. It's just your own guilt is outshining the thing for where you've got to do a difficult thing for them. You've got to make them help get their own coach, or get them their own coaching, get them their own help. And instead of enabling them, that's something that they're doing just to pass the buck. I
I
don't agree with it either. I think everybody should just be the ones that have to help each other out, and you have to get them the help. And even whether it be willing or unwilling, they need help. They don't need a safe place to shoot heroin, or they don't need Narcan that is funded by taxpayers for those that are 98% or 95% doing the right thing.
Yep, and man, like that's my take on it too. I kind of feel like uh Drago from Rocky, where it's like, man, if you out here using drugs and something happened, if he dies, he dies.
In the words of Mr. Mackey, drugs are bad. Okay. That being said, I still like edibles.
Hey, David said, my Angels won today, coach. Otani leads the MLB with 24 home runs. LOL and the laughing emoji. How you feel about that?
David, I wipe your ass with your feelings. I wipe my ass with your feelings.
I love it. This is why I like sports, man. I like that we can come in here. We all have our
Hey,
rivalries and things. And
it,
then,
enjoy it. Enjoy this one season of a winning record with Otani and with Trout, because Otani's not going to be an Angel next year, and then you guys are going to go back to irrelevance where Mike Trout's going to have like 3 home runs in the game, and then the Angels are going to blow a 6 run lead in the 8th inning and lose 10-8.
mm. I love it. I love it. Michelle said that she gets my point completely, King. However, it is cheaper, more fiscally responsible to use tax dollars to provide aid than it is to send emergency responses to each call. Whew. Okay. Do I say it? Nah. But okay. All right. Let's see. Additionally, oh, here we go. We have some additionalies. King and Coach, most drug users is linked to something emotionally within. Until people are willing to offer free mental health services to address the underlying issues, substance misuse will continue to prevail. And then she wrote, and I'm done. Hey,
And I agree with that portion of your statement, Michelle. I agree that there's more mental health types of things, and I agree there's help that needs to be done, and that should be provided. This Narcan giveaway and these free safe sites are nothing but a bandage for a broken arm. The mental health therapies and the types of therapies that are necessary for those willing to get that are the cast to help set that broken arm.
yep, yep. So before we go to our final story for today, David, we're not going to get to Zion Williamson. I tried looking for additional stuff that we haven't already covered, and I just didn't see anything.
He's up on the trade block right now. That's all that it's basically happening.
Whoa, for real?
Yeah.
There.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yep.
so there was a NBA trade. I didn't cover it in the quick hit nudes, but Bill is looking to be a son. So you're going to have Bradley Bill, um, Kevin,
KD.
Kevin Durant, and Booker
Um.
because they're shipping
And
Chris Paul away.
Ayrton or Aiton, the former number 1 pick, and yeah, Chris Paul will be gone. So you're going to have 4 guys on a max contract with 7 role players on that team.
Yep, I'm
And
curious.
Bradley Beal, he's a good player. He's averaged 22 points a game throughout his career. The Suns might be primed for another run to the NBA Finals, but it's most likely, they're going to have to get through Denver. They're going
Yep.
to have to get through Denver. They're going to have to get through that Western Conference out of there, and it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult. But that being said, they're going to be putting up a strong team that might be able to be, a formidable opponent against Denver next year out of the West.
I'm going to see what the current NBA odds are for them to win the Phoenix Suns, and I might throw $200 down and hope essentially. So let's
Yeah.
see.
You know what they say about hoping and shitting, right?
No,
You can hope in one hand, shit in the other, see which one fills up first.
Hey, I don't like the word hope. I say that word and I cringe. Hope is one of the words that I wish gets banned. Right. I think that you should deal more with certainties or maybe even probabilities, but don't really deal in hope. So, like, I even say that word and I cringe every time I use it myself. CP3 will be a wizard. Yep, he is getting traded away and he will be coming down to DC. So, if the tickets aren't that expensive, I'm going to try to catch a couple of Wizards game because he's one of the players that I would love to see play in real person. The last Wizards game I went to, I talked about it on this show. It was a phenomenal experience. I used VetTix, VETTIX. If you are a vet or one of the qualifying people that they have, you should go sign up for VetTix. They are a phenomenal nonprofit, I believe, and they
Yes, they
have a
are.
lot of different like it's not just sports. They have shows, concerts, different events and things. Now certain markets are great for it, like I live in the DMV area and they're great with their offerings from Pennsylvania to DC to Virginia, and everything down. So if you're a veteran and you're not signed up for VetTix and you're eligible, you're missing out. So go over there to VetTix and get signed up.
My wife and daughter were supposed to go to a country music concert on this Friday from Vetix, $15 processing fee, and they had general admission tickets to a concert that was half sold out. Unfortunately, they couldn't go because of the daggone what the heck happened that night. There was a rainstorm and they didn't want to get wet, so I don't blame them whatsoever. But yeah, Vetix has been one of the best resources that I've been using over the past several years just to attend some of the events that I've wanted to attend.
Nice, nice. Shout out from the DMV. Hey, we got DMV in the building. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Salute to you, Tiffany. Let's say Michelle said, "Would you would you say that you hope the word hope will get banished?" I like that wordplay, Michelle. Thank you. David Cunningham, and this is the last question before we go to our final topic. Do you think, or not the last question, but yeah, do you think that the Nuggets will repeat? No, no.
No, all depends, man. All depends. There's I'd like to see what's happening with the NBA this year, and this Web Bayama guy that is going to be the consensus number one overall pick. It's always funny how these generational picks end up coming on the years that the Spurs absolutely are terrible. Like David Robinson, freaking Tim Duncan, and now this Web Bayama guy. If there's a generational center for some reason, the daggone the San Antonio Spurs end up getting him. So it would be nice to see what this kid can do next year. I'm not going to predict that they're going to be going to the NBA Finals or the Western Conference Finals, but it's going to be a different Western Conference next year, especially if this trade definitely happens, or if this trade happens with Bradley Beal going to the Suns.
I looked at the different odds and ends and things of how the Nuggets looked throughout the year, and they were favorited pretty early throughout the year. It definitely shot up during like the last half of the season after the NBA trade deadlines and things like that, along with their record. But to be able to go back and repeat, I don't see it happening. What I'm going to say is I'm going to watch and hear what Charles Barkley says, because apparently this dude will make a prediction early on, guarantee it, and stick with it. And when he hits, it makes him look damn good. So whoever Chuck says is going to be the winner next year, that's who I'm riding with. All right.
I usually go with what Shaquille O'Neal tells me because he told me about saving money on my car insurance by switching to the General.
The
He's
general.
also told me about Icy Hot and told me about a whole bunch of other things too. So I take Shaquille O'Neal's word more than anybody's.
David said he thinks that Denver would do well if they could keep the core of their team together. Hey, look, that means they're going to make it to the
Yeah.
playoffs again. Like they're going to be who was the team that made it and then the following year, it was actually, I think we had talked about it, and the following year didn't even they won or made it to the finals, and the following year didn't even
Was
make
it
it to the
wasn't that
playoffs.
Toronto?
I believe
Wasn't
so.
that Toronto?
Yeah, and then turned around and didn't even make
That
the
was, but
playoffs
that
the
was
next year.
also, but that was also during the COVID season. So I mean, you give a little bit of a break to teams like that, especially in a messed up situation like it was during the COVID bubble.
All right. Hey, so to the people that stuck around with us, hey, thank y'all. At the beginning of this, we had over 100 people, and that went for a while as well. And our core audience has rocked with us throughout this entire time. So thank you to the people that are going to
Oh
listen to
yeah.
this on the replay. I thank you as well, or the audio version. Let me just give you an early thanks as well. Now, oh, and if you hadn't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? Hit the like button. Final story. David said that it was the
Hmm.
Lakers. All right.
Oh,
I
it was
remember it
the
was
Lakers.
somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Fi-
somebody did. Yeah.
Final story. Conor McGregor is a name that draws attention, is a name that draws money. If you don't know who he he considered a retired UFC fighter? Um,
I believe he's still active because right now he's coaching one of the teams from the what's the name of that show? The Ultimate Fighter. So
mhm.
he's one of the coaches on this season, and usually what ends up happening is that the winners from each one of the camps, as well as the coaches, which I just had Connor's Facebook page open, so I can go, or not his Facebook, but I just had his Wikipedia page open. Connor is scheduled for a fight at the end of this year. At the end of the what's it called? The Ultimate Fighter 31. He'll be going against Michael Chandler, and that's what's currently slated for Connor. But as we all know, things can certainly change at a moment's heartbeat, and it looks like might actually be changing anyway.
Hmm. Okay. He's I guess you would call him a mixed martial artist, right? He's made his
Yes, he is. Yeah.
he's made his name throughout UFC as a former featherweight and lightweight champion. He's also been in a lot of controversy outside of the ring. And his most recent controversy we're gonna highlight here because I think that there's a lot of different things that kind of get weaved into this. So, Coach, are you aware of things that he was accused of before we talk about the most recent thing that broke this past week?
He's been accused of sexual assault and domestic violence against women and men multiple times since 2017. He's had several instances of behavior over at UFC events. He has, been arrested for robbery and beating the crap out of somebody in Florida. He's got a pub that's over in Ireland, and he beat the crap out of several people that were happening. He's had a run in with frickin' Machine Gun Kelly at the MTV Video Music Awards. I mean, come on, that's low hanging fruit right there. You're gonna have a physical altercation with frickin' with what's it called with Machine Gun Kelly. I mean, that guy's the walking equivalent to a fart. If a fart ever manifested itself into human form, it would look like Machine Gun Kelly. All right, I wouldn't. You're really going on the low hanging fruit, but now he's got another one. After he beats the crap out of a daggone mascot, he goes to do something else stupid.
You know, what's interesting is this. We talked about it either last show or the show prior to that. Is that if the Nuggets win the NBA championship, nobody's going to remember that the Denver Nuggets won the 2023 NBA championship, which is already
Yeah.
starting out to be true because the news that's been coming out of those finals has been Conor McGregor punching a mascot and sending that guy to the hospital. And then the video that we're going to show, courtesy of TMZ, that a lady is accusing Connor of, and I want to make sure that I say the right word here. She's accusing Conor McGregor of the sexual assault is the word, sexual assault. And when you watch the video, you kind of have to wonder what the actual, and it's almost, you know what? Let's just play the video. Let's play the video here. I'm going to bring it up here on my screen, and this is courtesy of TMZ. Hey, TMZ, fair use. Okay, fair use. Don't come at us for sharing y'all video without proper attributions. I think that's the word. Fair use.
Acknowledgements or shit. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Connor right there highlighted, and we take this off the screen. And if you take a look, like there's several people here. Okay, because my first question was, with the way that Connor has all these people around him, how is he gonna do something and nobody sees it? So like that. So that was my first thought. Okay, so that's him right there. There's several people, and the alleged victim who's not covered. Look, he's leading her into the bathroom. It's like they conversed. He grabs her hand, walks into the restroom, and then Connor's goons and his, bodyguards or whatever are allowing this to happen. And you hear other people in the background. One person was like, "Oh my god," because they're seeing this happen. Now, for those of y'all that don't know Connor's personal life, he's not married, yet he has a long time girlfriend who's the mother of his kids. I don't know if they're engaged. I don't know what their marital status is as far as that goes, but he's talked about being there for her and things like that. And for him to just walk around where people have cameras, right? And look, both of those girls walked in, then they closed the door, and then boom, right? Whatever happened, happened. Okay. The story that's being talked about that she shares is that once the girl left, he did things that she didn't consent to. My take on it, I don't know. Like, is it smart for you to do that? Like, what were you walking in there for? Hey, Connor, nice to meet you. I think you're one of the greatest UFC fighters out there. You got this guy in the back with his drink in one hand and phone in the other hand, filming the whole thing. Phones galore. And he just walks her into the men's restroom where the goons is just, blocking everything. I'm not saying that like she should have known better, but I always say this, like, if that's my daughter, I failed her for having her make that decision to do something like that. Coach, what say you?
All right. I'm going to say this right here, and this is going to sound not as bad, but I'm gonna make this mention of it right here. Okay, we do need a better job in raising our children, our our young men and our young women to not be so more personal, or a little bit more conscientious about the choices that they're making and not delving further in here. I bring this up, and I'm not trying to disparage this man's name, even though it truly has been. But let's be quite honest. Nobody willingly knew that R. Kelly was going to be a pervert and piss on him and do whatever the hell R. Kelly did. Certain people have gotten that, and if you've ever seen that show, Surviving R. Kelly, you will hear the same story over and over again about how R. Kelly just, kind of brought them along in the same way that this woman was brought along, and then R. Kelly, decided to drip, 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 piss on you and let me pee on you and do those types of things. So I can see where in a situation like this, it may lead down the line to it, and we can get that distortion of, oh, well, look, this woman just decided to, go into the restroom with Conor McGregor, knowing full well what was going to end up happening. There's a lot of situations that run into that one. If we're going to be, if we're going to be, best way I'll say this, if we are going to chastise R. Kelly for doing the things that he do, yet not chastise this woman saying that this person should have known better, then I think we need to take a look at it in these ways that these aspects are of how impersonable our children are and how bad we are doing a job of raising our kids so that they still see these danger signs and things like that, and how easy it is for them to be caught into a situation where they're going to be taken advantage of.
Yep.
Said my piece on that.
Okay. Part of why I wanted to highlight this is the initial claim that the lady stated was that she was physically forced into the bathroom by his security and that McGregor was already inside waiting on her. And then the footage comes out and it just goes against that initial claim. And it's one of those things that it's like, eh, let's say he did do stuff against her will, you don't help yourself by making one claim when the rest of
Mhm.
everything else shows something else, and then now
Yes,
you throw that doubt out there for people, and it makes it harder for people that have had something traumatic happen to them, that then it's like you just wonder
agreed on that
how do
part.
you
Yeah,
believe that stuff.
yeah,
um
yeah.
you know, I I am a full supporter of throw anybody under the jail when you make the allegation and there's proof behind it. I feel sorry, like I bad, sad, tragic, a lot of bad words when you have stories of something happening to men and women and there's
Hmm.
no, you don't have the evidence to support the claim, then it's like,
Yeah.
what do you do? In
And
that
then on top of
situation,
that,
it's bad.
if you look at the past with all that stuff that I was talking about with Conor McGregor, all of those situations seem to have had either been unsubstantiated or the charges were dismissed due to lack of evidence.
Mhm.
Okay, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe as a society, we're looking at it in kind of a bad sense, where something like this continues to happen and it keeps getting thrown out. Maybe our legal system needs to do something a little bit better if these accusations are correct and they are true about what Conor McGregor is doing.
Exactly. Now, after the video came out, the lady changed up her, you know, story a bit, and throughout this time she's never wanted to press charges, but that she was seeking a settlement with Connor. And it's what with Connor, the NBA and the Heat, right? So
Hmm.
so if you wonder why certain things are in place and you're like, man, this seems to be overly, restrictive or overly yada yada, it's because you have situations that occur that then lead these arenas to have protective measures in place for good reason.
Yeah. And hey, but and on top of that too, we're also looking right now as a pattern of behavior with Conor McGregor, in which all of these incidences seem to be happening over and over and over again, and nobody seems to be able to nail him down to do something like that. I mean, I'm not saying he's Bill Cosby or anything, I'm not saying anything bad because all these charges keep getting dropped, but there needs to be something done. This is where it comes down to the athletes being role models. We're not expecting Conor McGregor to be a role model, but we're also not expecting him to be an absolute piece of shit human being, and that's what he's turning himself into.
Bingo. All right. This dude has already had two instances in 2019 in Ireland of sexual assault, an incident in 2020 that was later dropped. In 2021, he faced a lawsuit from an alleged 2018 incident. He was accused of attacking a woman on a yacht in Ibiza, and the dude's been like Teflon. He hasn't faced any legal repercussions from any of the accusations. And like I said, it's lobbying accusations against somebody is one thing. Having the proof to lock them down is another thing. But my overall take on it is this: if I'm giving advice to people out there, I'm saying don't hang around this dude because trouble seems to follow him. And if you then choose to hang around this dude, good
Mm-hmm.
luck. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yep.
just good luck. And like not just the women, but like the people that he pays for security and things like that. Like if I'm hired to be his security or things like that, I'm gonna go, nope, not doing it. Couldn't pay me enough. You're not about to subpoena me for some dumb shit that might happen.
Yeah. Wyndham Clark wins the 2023 U.S. Open at a -10 with Rory McIlroy at second place.
Ooh.
I was hoping that the guy who ended up getting in third, Ricky Fowler, was going to win it, but not this year. So some guy who I've got no idea who's named after a hotel chain ended up winning the U.S. Open. Great for him.
Man,
I got no idea who the hell this guy is. Do you? Some
n-
random white dude.
nope. Nope.
If you ever saw Wyndham Clark walking down the hallway, would you have any idea who the hell he is?
Not at all. If he was at the airport, he'd be a random white dude, like you said.
Exactly.
All right. Hey, we didn't have a lot of comments on this story, which I'm not surprised. Like allegations and stuff like that, it's hard to talk about. But here at WTF Nation Radio, we're going to talk about these sports related stories, right? These athletes or people that are just doing dumb shit and the people that get caught up in that orbit. There's plenty of people doing fantastic and great stuff out there. And then you have the idiots like Connor, John Morant,
Ja.
Zion Williamson. Look, his off the court stuff is having people talk. Yet, man, to me, like that's a distraction. Like I'm like, I always say I wish I had multi-millions of dollars and athleticism that provided me the opportunity to go to certain places and things like that. Man, I'd be real careful about who I had around me to parlay that into generational wealth. You know, it's what Kobe was
Mm-hmm.
doing for his family. Zion has the opportunity to do the same thing, but man, you might get 3 generations down the line and see the results of none of that because of the decisions that he's making.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So, a little bit of things, and let's be quite honest. You take a look at several of these people, still gonna have your outliers of people who just have a messed up kind of life. And you're going to have well adjusted kids. You're going to have kids who are not going to be well adjusted. It's in the way that you are as a parent. And on this Father's Day, it should remind you that the number one thing that you have in your life is the children that you have helped bring into this world. And it's our jobs to help them get ready for this world, show them what it means to be a good person, whether it be through your own values, through your own belief system, or your own spirituality. And that's how you make sure that the people around you bring something good into this world. Don't bring them into the things that are bad, and try to dissuade them and be mature enough so that they can make their own good decisions.
Hey,
That's what being a parent's about.
man, hey, coach, salute to you. I could not have said that any better. And you know what? I'm not even going to add anything to that because that was a great sign off to have for the show. So from WTF Nation Radio, Coach and I would like to thank everybody that tuned in this Sunday. Again, I want to say make the sports bar the most watched, the most commented, the most like button hit show of all of the ones here at WTF Nation Radio. I like Ice, I like Pookie, I like Radar, I like everybody else, but I want the sports bar to be the most watched show here at WTF Nation Radio. So to everybody that watch and stuck around, thank you. To the fathers out there and the people that are involved in their kids' life, happy Father's Day. And to everybody else that are just sperm donors and don't involve themselves in their kids' lives, y'all are missing out,
You
man.
motherfuckers.
I went this way, coach went that way, but we mean the same thing. Coach, hey man.
Like my motherfucking foot massager is now broken.
Oh no, you got to get that fixed, man. Hey, coach, thanks for coming on tonight, man. And spending
King.
spending your Father's Day with us here at the Sports Bar. Thanks to everybody else that have chose to spend the last couple of hours here at the Sports Bar. I truly love y'all, and the gift did not come in yet. That was mailed out, but once it does, I am going to show. I got a wooden thing that was made. Coach, I've seen a preview of it. It looks fantastic. I can't believe I haven't shown it to you yet as far as the picture, but the actual gift hasn't came in yet. But once it does, I will have it posted up. So I just wanted to give that update.
All right.
All
brother,
right.
thank you.
Hey,
Happy Father's Day for everybody.
happy Father's Day, y'all. We are out. Peace.
Peace.